Okay, this week is the last of our whirlwind tour of all of a few of the many theories that you might want to give consideration in your thoughts about where you're going with theory. This one is the most globally in scope of all of them. We talked about dependency theory last week, and this week we want to think about the work of Emanuel Wallerstein is presented to us in Sorinel's article. And uh, Wallerstein is a person of great capability and breadth of scholarship. He's spent most of his life around New York City at Columbia University, but he's had intervening trips to all parts of the world, worked in Africa some, uh, did all kinds of things that greatly augment his experience. And when he started working in the 70s, that was when dependency theory had taken the dip that we talked about last week, and I guess at that point he decided to fix this problem, and he did it in a lot of ways, particularly adding nuances to dependency theory and making it into a kind of a culture theory of the global ecosystem, something like that. In Wallerstein's work, I mean, we're not talking about any kind of a skimpy scholar here. Like, he's taken this idea of a world systems theory to the level of four gigantic volumes. Now, I've listed them for you in the uh, study guide for this week, so you can just kind of get some idea of the scope of his work. And I've also in the study guide put a link to a little 4-minute thing that Wallerstein is doing on his current fixation, which is on revising the epistemological outlook of the Western intellectual tradition. And as he says, this idea that we have a separation between philosophy and science, and the two things operate separately, and all of that. A lot of it has to do with our separation, between the sciences and the humanities. And I think he must be working along the line of developing a grand theory uh, of how to make, how to get rid of that false separation, which he regards as being an inconvenience, as you'll see him talking about it in the video. Well, Sorinel's article is just a very brief little introduction to the work of Wallerstein, and uh, it's it's a very manageable article, one that will help you get the overview uh, of world systems theory. And but one of the things that's interesting about this article, which I think will be helpful to you in more ways than just becoming familiar with world systems theory, is that Sorinel is a Romanian, and as you'll notice, the English in the article is not exactly fluid, but this sort of thing, this uh, approach to expressing oneself in English is becoming very uh, common these days because, for one thing, English is by far and away the fastest growing language in the world. I think I heard on a report on public radio that that the English language is incorporating 250,000 words. Um, I hesitate to say a day, but maybe a year into it from other languages, and so you're getting kind of dialects of English all over the place, and it's undoubtedly causing problems that we're not even aware of. But one thing that's important to this is in this issue is in 2008 the European Union adopted English as its official language for government and business and all of that. And as you can imagine, Europe is composed of people speaking dozens of languages and dialects, and so I've had some experience with reading and editing these sorts of compositions, and I think it might be useful to you to realize that even though all of the grammar isn't correct and all of that, that we're coming into a time in the world when you need to be able to read past some of that and get at what those people are starting to say. And I think it's also helpful that we're dealing with the topic of Wallerstein, who is an American, and so there are a lot of other things. Like if you get on the internet, well, you'll find all kinds of kind of similarly scoped summaries of Wallerstein's work, and you should just take this as an opportunity to practice, reading through those and realizing that there are people in other countries and cultures who are very capable, and they're trying to tell you something through the somewhat clumsy medium of an English that is at a state of change itself.